Hi, welcome to ProgrammingAssignments.com. I'm Neil Harding, and I've been programming for almost 4 decades now. So I started off with BASIC, then Assembly, C, C++, Java, Python. So that's my history of programming. There's a few other languages in between, like I did some Pascal and COBOL and other languages while I was at university, but I've not used those professionally, so I won't be handling any assignments in those. The languages I've done, I've been using professionally, so I have a huge range of experience. But we have other people who can handle, programming languages I've not done. So I started out in games. Games I really enjoyed programming in games, especially on the early days, because the systems were really underpowered. I was first starting out on Atari 8-bit, so I had a 6502 processor running at 1 megahertz. So we got a factor of 3,000 times faster in processor speed and multiple thousands of times of memory, and I was using a cassette tape for storage, so it was loading programs off tape at a speed of slower than the slowest modem you've ever seen. So that's how I started. It was an interesting time back then, because each time you were working, you were having to pretty much do everything from scratch, because there was very little. You couldn't really easily reuse code because there was so little room in your code for unnecessary code. And when you're trying to write a library, you tend to have to generate code that can handle multiple situations. So then I went on to the 68000 on the ST Amigas, which was a megahertz processor, 512k memory, and those were actually really enjoyed 68000 programming. In fact, I think that's probably one of my favourite programming languages. It's a difficult. I was actually writing object-oriented code even in assembly language, so I'm very familiar with the object-oriented paradigm, so there's not. Then when I moved into C++, there was a lot of stuff I was already familiar with from the times I was writing in assembly. In fact, I actually wrote a program that converted 68000 assembly language into C, and it was for converting Sonic 3D on the Sega Saturn, which was done in, I think, 5 months. Starting July, was in the doors for Thanksgiving, so that was a hugely. It was a AAA title and done in an incredibly tight time frame, so it involved a lot of 100-hour weeks. So I know about deadlines. It's not a good idea to wait to the last minute to get your assignment done. You try them yourself, but if you're not sure, let us know in advance, because we can, although we can help you, it still takes time to write a program, especially when you have to debug. Debugging can take as much time to write as the actual original code, especially when you're dealing with large amounts of data, because sometimes the problem might not show up until programs run through thousands of entries, and it makes it difficult to trace. And so it's actually really important to send your assignments early. We normally say at least a 24-hour turnaround, but as I said, if we've got a lot of assignments in, it's safer for you. Don't want you to get your assignments late because you tend to have penalties. So make sure you get them in as early as you can, and we can sort that out for you. So C++ was actually a pretty good language for programming, because when I was writing assembly language, it would take me about 3 weeks to convert from an Atari ST to an Amiga, and that's the same processor, but the operating system was different. C++ allows you to abstract a lot of the differences between machines. So to display the string on the screen, you would just use printf, and so as long as that's dealt with by compiler, so a lot of difference between machines are handled at this sort of the libraries level, and you never even have to worry about it, which is really handy. One of the things I've then moved on to was Java, and Java is actually pretty popular in mobile devices. It was pretty much all the mobile phones ran Java, although less so now with the iPhone, because the iPhone is either using Objective-C or now Swift, and Android is using Java, although it's not Sun's implementation of Java, and there's been a few issues with that. But we can handle Java, we can handle Android version of Java, and we have other people who can handle iPhone. As I said, we have actually seen more courses now dealing with mobile, so where you have to develop an application on either Android or iPhone, and so we can handle that. We've also done. I've been doing Python for the past few years, and Python is a really good language for web development. And if I can recommend, Django is a framework for that. I actually really like Django. It handles a lot of stuff that you always need. It's like you pretty much any site you want to be able to log in and log off, and it does it properly. So you don't need to worry about, is there a password, how I encrypted it. It deals with all of that for you, so you don't need to worry about your passwords being leaked, like has happened to quite a few sites recently. Like Yahoo, for example, had a huge breach, and they lost half a billion usernames and passwords. So Django helps protect against that type of catastrophic breaches. The other thing that can happen when you're writing a web application is what they call SQL injection, which is where there's a really good XKCD comic. Search for Johnny Drop Tables, and the idea was if you just accept whatever the user types in and insert it into the database, somebody may put in a command into one of your fields, like for their name, and you just blindly accept it, and suddenly it drops all the students. So that is a really good idea to use a framework, because it deals with all that for you. I've been using Django on quite a few sites, and using it on the back end, so I'm really experienced with development. And then on the front end, I've been using jQuery, which jQuery is pretty good for abstracting away the details between the different browsers. So I started doing web development in the 90s, and back then you was actually Internet Explorer and Mozilla. Netscape was the other one, and it was horrible then, because there was features that Microsoft bought that Netscape didn't, and vice versa. So now you pretty much can write the same code and it'll work across browsers, and it's a lot better situation. But it's a useful thing to be aware of. So I've done, so if you need anything with HTML, with Python, C++, Java, or assembly, which I can help you. I have other people who are able to help you with Scheme, Lisp, Prolog, Perl, PHP, and a huge other range of languages I can't even think of the name for right now. There's so many. Go, Ruby, Swift, Go. There's a huge menagerie of languages. A lot of these languages are based on an existing language, or so there's similarities, but there's enough differences that you actually want somebody who's used to the language, and so we use people who are experienced with that language. So let us know. Get in touch with us on the contact form. Give us the details, and we'll get back in touch with you. I'm based in Pacific time zone, so I'm normally up from about 8 a.m. to about 11 p.m. I'm normally online, so messages are passed to me from around then. But we've got 24-hour help, but like I said, for a response from me, those are the sort of hours that are best. So it might take slightly longer outside those hours because if they're going to contact me. But like I said, feel free, contact us on the forums. We can provide a huge range of services that should suit your needs. Okay, thank you. Bye.